Hey everybody, this is Dream. We have a gigantic 12-game slate here today. The slate starts at 7 p.m. We have a giant injury report to take a look at as well, so let's get into that here. Before I do that, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button, and also share the video? I really appreciate it when you guys do that. With that said, let's get into the injury report. So we have the Cavs with Mitchell, Garland, and Neto all questionable. For the Miami Heat, Bam is questionable and Butler is out. For the 76ers, Harden is out, Embiid is questionable, and Thibault is questionable. For the Nets, Kyrie is out, Simmons is out, and Curry is out. For the Bulls, Drummond is out and White is doubtful. For the Hornets, Rozier is doubtful, Hayward is out. For the Clippers, Leonard and Covington are both out. For the Spurs, Collins and Langford are both questionable. For the Warriors, Klay Thompson is doubtful. For the Pelicans, Ingram and Jones are both probable. For the Raptors, Van Vliet is questionable. For the Bucks, Giannis is probable. For the Timberwolves, Edwards and Gobert are both questionable. For the Trailblazers, Simmons is questionable and Lillard is out. For the Suns, Ayton is probable and Payne is questionable. And for the Lakers, LeBron is probable and Davis is questionable. We got a lot of injuries. A lot of things are going to probably change this reality, this lineup, or this rather slate, depending on how those things go. We'll have to see, but let's get into the players themselves that we do like here. With that said, let's get into the point guards. So my first guy to look at here is Kyle Lowry. Now Kyle Lowry is $6,500. He's a pretty good price point, and he's going to have to be more offensive in this game with Butler now out. He looks like he's still pretty cheap when it comes to the price, and so I do like him here. DeAnthony Melton should be starting for the 76ers. Now, his price point here is not ideal like it is on DraftKings, so he's not a really top-tier play for me here, but he is a decent play with Harden out. He should be starting and get a lot of minutes. He'd even get more shots if Embiid ends up being ruled out as well. Sumner for Brooklyn is a guy that I like here. He should be the starter for them with Kyrie being suspended, so we should look for him as a decent option today. He used to be good in the past for Indiana when he would come off the bench when a guy was hurt, so I do like him in that role, and I think he will be able to 5x if he ends up being the starter. Jordan Poole looks a little bit too cheap today if Klay Thompson is in fact out, and I do expect him to be out, so we'll take a look at that closer. Then we're going to look at Chris Paul. There you go. For $7,400. He's been really good so far this season. The only risk with him is that sometimes he doesn't play deep in the game, but he's been playing around 30 to 35 minutes a game, and he's been really solid in a lot of these games, and this is a good matchup for him against Portland, where he should be able to ball out. Then we're going to look at shooting guard Hero. He's in a great spot here for Miami. With Butler out, he should get a lot more run, and even though he hasn't been as good at this price point on FanDuel, he is in a good spot here and should be able to 5x with the situation that they're in. Paul George looks interesting today for the Clippers. Now, he's been extremely boomer bust, and when I mean extremely boomer bust, he's had almost 80 fantasy points and as low as 20. Without Kawhi Leonard playing, his minutes should still be pretty high, so I look for him to have a good opportunity to 5x in the slate. Then we're going to look at Jaylen Brown at $8,300. He seems a little bit too cheap for this matchup, and so I do like him on the slate. Even though it's a little bit of a tougher matchup, he's been really solid so far this season. Then we're going to look at Cameron Johnson for Phoenix. He's a very good value play here, and he's been just too cheap so far this season. His price hasn't moved on FanDuel, so I really do like him here. Then we're going to look at LeBron. Now, he's been really good with Davis out, and if Davis continues to not play, he's going to be a solid option. He's been pretty good and consistent so far this season with only one game bad, and this is another game he should be in a great spot. Kevin Durant, obviously, is going to have all the opportunity today with Kyrie out as well, including Simmons being out, and so he should get plenty of shots, and he should play a lot of minutes, and so I don't see any reason why he doesn't get 50-plus fantasy points in this one. Royce O'Neal looks interesting over here on FanDuel. His price point isn't super perfect, but he should be a starter, and he should be playing a full complement of minutes today, and they're going to need him to take out some of the scoring with Kyrie out. And then Patrick Williams for Chicago. He's been the starter the last few games, and he's been playing pretty solid. He's definitely not the guy that gets a lot of shot opportunities, but he's been consistent with the minute increase he's had the last few games, so he's an interesting spot. Jalen McDaniels for Charlotte looks like he's in a really good spot here. Now, his price point isn't as ideal here on FanDuel as it is on DraftKings, but he is in a pretty good spot, and he should be the starter. I think he has a good opportunity to 5x on this particular slate, probably even 6x here. PJ Washington, his price point isn't super ideal just because he's wildly inconsistent so far this season. But much like Oubre, he has big time opportunities. So with this situation, with Hayward out, he should get more opportunity. Same goes for Kelly Oubre, but I don't like using Kelly Oubre because of his inconsistencies. Then we're going to look at Draymond Green, who's a little bit too cheap here on FanDuel. Now, he's been up and down so far this season, and his minutes have been pretty consistent around 30, but, he doesn't always score a lot of real points. But he does get assists and rebounds and stuff, and sometimes some steals, and occasionally a block or two. And as you can see, he's been pretty inconsistent, but his price point is really good for the production that he can do, and this is a good matchup for him. And then Zion Williamson, he looks like he's in a good spot here against Golden State. In the games where he's actually played and not gotten hurt, he's been extremely good. The only risk with him is that he does get hurt easily, so you do have to be a little bit aware of that. He is a little bit risky as a result of that. Nicholas Claxton here on FanDuel looks really solid, especially with Kyrie out. He's had some really good games so far this season, and he should have more opportunity, more run, because they're going to have to rely on their starters a little bit more with all the injuries that they have. Joel Embiid is questionable, but if he does end up playing, he's in a good spot here, especially with Harden out. He's going to have to do a lot more of the offense. We're really not sure if he's going to end up playing, though. So if he doesn't play, then that would obviously propel their backup center to the potentially to start here with Harden out. Mason Plumlee looks like he's in a really good spot here for Charlotte. Now, he's been really good so far this season, even though he's capped in minutes because Nick Richards is his timeshare teammate. But he's been pretty solid game to game, and I like the matchup here against Memphis where he should be able to take advantage. Bam looks like he's in a great spot here for against Indiana. Now, he is questionable, so we do have to make sure he ends up playing. But if he does play with Butler out, he's in a great spot. And then DeAndre Ayton, finally for Phoenix, looks like he's going to be back today. And if he does end up playing, he's in a nice position, and his price is pretty cheap here in a nice plus matchup. He has a lot of ability in this situation. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And if there's any players that you feel like I left out that you think are viable today, also leave that below. Make sure to keep track. Join our Discord. I'll show you that here real quick. We have a spot here for NBA news, which gives us updates on injury situations as the day goes on. So definitely take a look at that and get in here and hang out. And we have a lot of fun in here. So yeah, have a nice day, guys.